Good morning, and thank you for joining us for this edition of SBB Live, where we are interviewing a resident at the Discovery Village down in Naples. We have Mr. Joe Pavlick with us this morning. How are you, Joe?
I'm fine, thank you for asking.
Wonderful. Well, we are so grateful to have you on the show. These are some of my favorite interviews to do. We want to get to know you as a person. So tell me a little bit about your history and what makes Joe Joe.
Oh, okay. Um, I was first generation born in the United States. My parents came from what is now the country of Slovakia. Had a wonderful childhood, poor, but it was great. Had everything that I wanted, clothes, food, and friendship. And it was just a wonderful upbringing. My father passed away when I was a young man, but my mother did a great job raising me and my brother. And went to college, got a degree in engineering, and wound up traveling all over the world as a consulting engineer. And I had a great career, and I really enjoyed it. Saw everything, well, not everything, but I saw a good part of the world and the people in it. And it was a wonderful experience.
So tell me more about your career. What did that entail?
Well, I got a degree in metallurgical engineering, and I wound up specializing in welding and materials, and that's what I consulted on the whole time that I was during my working life. I lived and traveled in countries such as South Africa, the Philippines, Venezuela, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia.
That is quite the resume. I am impressed. Now, everybody has a story on their journey when they're looking into the next phase, the retirement phase. So, what brought you here to the state of Florida? And then tell me what prompted you to start looking at senior living options.
Uh, when I was working overseas, uh, I used to come home for like 6 to 8 weeks a year. That's the way it worked out. And every time I came home, I always visited a different part of the country. I never thought that I would want to live in Florida. Absolutely not. It just wasn't even on my radar. And I went all over. Uh, and then just before I retired in 1999, I took a trip to Florida just for the heck of it, just to see what it was like. And I saw Naples, Florida, and I sort of was intrigued because at that time in the 90s, there was an old map, you didn't see the Alligator Alley. So Naples was at the bottom end of 41, and it was in big black letters. So it must have been a nice place. And so I came down to visit, and I just fell in love with the place. It was just unbelievable. It's changed since then for me, too much. But back then, it was just paradise. Just people were great. Uh, there wasn't that much traffic. Uh, the scenery was fabulous. I was working in Saudi Arabia then, so all this greenery here was just mind boggling to me. And I just loved it. And eventually I retired here in 1999.
Perfect. And what made you start looking at senior living options? And I'm sure that it was a journey for you, as I said. What made you decide to choose Discovery Village at Naples as your retirement home?
Well, I wasn't looking to retire, to go to a retirement living place at all. I had a very nice house, and I'm the kind of person that I enjoyed working around the house in the garden, taking care of the house. And I had a very large house, and it was great. And but eventually, over the time, I started getting a little tired of all the work that I had to do. And some friends of mine had gone to Discovery Village for a, a time to meet to look at the place just after they was built, and they went and they liked it, and I didn't think too much about it, and they uh, uh, they enjoyed it, but they didn't want to think that they needed to retire. I didn't think that I needed to go to a senior living place at all. But one day, about 4 months ago, I said, nah, let me just take a quick look. So I went to take a look, and I was very impressed with the facility. the activities, and the people. Uh, the dining was very, very nice. The activities were great. No one pressures you to do everything, and everybody was very, very friendly. The people were very friendly here, but I still wasn't ready. Excuse me. Then we had uh, the crazy real estate market, and uh, I'm thinking I tried to sell my house a couple of years before, and I couldn't get an offer for nothing. And it was a very, very nice large house. And so one day I was talking to some friends of mine who are realtors, and I said to them, "Well, what do you think I could get for my house?" And they threw out a number, and I said, "Are you crazy?" He said, "No, you can get that." So I said, "Okay, let me put it on the market and see what happens." So I did, and before I had it put on the market, one day my friend, who was a realtor, said, "We're raising the price." I said, "Come on, you got to be kidding!" He said, "No." So I said, "Okay, put it on the market." I had an offer that night, and it was over my asking price. And I said, "Let me think about it." And then I came down here to take another look at Discovery Village, and I said, "This would be a perfect transition. I didn't need to go into a senior living place, but it worked out such that, maybe this is not a bad idea." So the combination of selling my house and getting a great price for it, and finding a place that I liked, that didn't have as much uh, work to do on it. There was none actually, and I
Exactly.
could concentrate on doing things that I always wanted to do, like physical fitness and swimming, and just generally it was. I was able to every day. You could meet people and do things. We
Yeah.
do we bowling.
Mhm.
They have different things, little different entertainment venues that they have
Happy
here.
hour.
People coming to sing. They also have a lot of other things, and it just a lot of things to do. And if you just want to be by yourself in your apartment, it's fine. It's no problem.
Yeah.
You can just go away. You don't have to eat here if you don't want all the time, but the food's great. And
Yeah.
sometimes I like to cook. A lot of times I like to go out to eat. And the combination of me being able to do anything I wanted without any care, it was worth it to me.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you, you are the perfect example of why people, when they're really independent, should come into a place like this when you don't need it. It's like living on a resort. Everything's there for you. They clean for you, they cook for you, they take you where you need to go. And you're right, you don't have to come out of your apartment and do any of those things if you don't want to, but the socialization is right there. And it's so important to have that socialization. I'm really glad you got such a good deal selling your house, Joe. That's awesome. Now, you've lived there for about 4 months. You said, what would you say is your favorite part of living at Discovery Village?
Everything. It's just nice. I always have something to do. Come down to dinner, and you sit with whoever's there and just have a great time and conversation. And we usually wind up sitting down for an hour, hour and a half, having dinner and just talking and whatnot. A lot of times people afterwards go outside for a cup of coffee or sit around in the lanai area or outside, as the sun goes down. And it's very, very pleasant. And it's just a nice place. It surprises me how much I have taken to it, and didn't realize that I would be doing this 4 months ago. Not at all, but I'm happy I did.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today, Joe. I appreciate it so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much.